Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm truly glad to have you joining me today. In 1977, the Atari 2600 brought the thrill of the casino right into your living room with Blackjack. One of the original launch titles, this classic card game let players test their luck against the house in a simple yet engaging 21-point showdown. And that is the topic for today's video.
Hit me, Atari.
Sorry, Miss Channing.
Don't watch television tonight. Play it.
Before we get started, if you like my videos, please consider hitting those like and subscribe buttons below. And hit that bell icon if you want to be notified of new videos. It really helps out a small channel like this one, and it is highly appreciated. Now onto the video. In each of the launch title videos, I brought you a special related topic. So before we get into gameplay, let's talk about game boxes. Is there a way to determine the difference between the launch year boxes from all the other years? And what about cartridges found in the wild? The short answer is yes, there is. So let's talk about that. The normal run of boxes look like this. You have artwork on the front, and there's quite a range of things you might find on the reverse. Some just have the controllers used in the game, while others may have a description or a matrix showing the different variations, which is a favorite of the Sears packaging. Inside, you have the cartridge held by a folded piece of cardboard that was glued in. The manual is tucked in behind that. You might also find a warranty card and a small catalog of game titles. Now, the launch title boxes are called gatefold boxes. At first glance, they look the same. However, we can see that the front swings open like a gate, which is how it gets its name. Inside the front flap, you find the manual held in with its own sleeve. The other side has an indentation holding the cartridge. I think you can agree this is a much better presentation for the game. After the launch year, they moved to a much cheaper way of making the cartridge boxes. And the console for that matter. But that is a topic for another video. Now suppose you find a loose cartridge somewhere. Is there a way to tell if it's from the launch year? Well, as you can see, there is a number on both the box and the cartridge label. The numbering system was abandoned pretty quickly, and only the launch year has them. Continued printing of the launch titles in the years afterward will have the normal cheaper boxes and no numbers. So, the secret is out now. Blackjack is a video game simulation of the card game. It was designed by Bob Whitehead. He was born in San Jose, California, and graduated from San Jose University with a degree in computer mathematics. He joined Atari in January of 1977 and began work on an adaptation of the arcade game Starship 1, which I reviewed in an earlier video. Whitehead explained that developers for the system wanted to create games they thought they would enjoy themselves, believing a gambling-themed game would be appealing to the staff. He jokingly described them as teenagers between the ages of 18 and 35. He specifically made the game to be controlled with the paddle controllers, as he felt the game would be able to use them appropriately, and wanted owners of the system to feel that enough games used the controllers to justify their inclusion with the console. Other games he did while Atari were Home Run, Football, Casino, and Video Chess. When he transitioned to Activision, he programmed Boxing, Skiing, Stampede, Chopper Command, Skyjinx, and Private Eye. That's quite the video game library. The cover art of Blackjack was done by Rick Gaitis. Gaitis was originally hired by Atari for his architectural design skills and had him create an entrance for the building. Gaitis said for Blackjack, he was given creative freedom from the Atari art directors to come up with image ideas, and decided to illustrate playing cards and happy people in a casino setting. He would go on to make cover art for other Atari titles, including Bob Whitehead's Casino. Considering the name changes that Sears did with the other launch titles, you might be thinking they changed the name to Card. Surprisingly, they did go with Blackjack, and even though we don't know the artist, I think I like the artwork a little better than Atari's version. Let me know which you like better in the comments below. Various Blackjack games had been made before the Atari 2600 version. The IBM 701, IBM's first commercial computer, was used to develop the first Blackjack program in 1954 by programmers at Los Alamos Laboratories. They ran millions of simulated hands of Blackjack to determine the best playing decision for every combination of cards. The result of the study was the set of correct rules for hitting, standing, doubling, or splitting in a Blackjack game. Most home video game consoles available in the late 1970s would have a Blackjack game on them, such as the Fairchild Channel F console with Video Cart 3 in 1976. The 2600 Blackjack can be played by 1 to 3 players. All players start with 200 chips and can bet 1 to 25 chips each round. Each player is dealt 2 cards face up, while the dealer is given 2 cards with only one face showing. Each card has a point value assigned, with face cards being 10 points. An ace can be either 1 or 11 points. The object of each round is to get as close to 21 points without exceeding it. If a player is satisfied with the hand dealt to them, they can choose to stay. If they want to add more points, they can request a hit and receive another card from the dealer. A player can continue to hit until they choose to stay or double their initial bet. The player wins the round if their hand has more points than the dealer and does not exceed 21 points. If the player wins a Blackjack, that's an ace along with a face card or a 10 card, they earn 1.5 times their bet. A player's bet is either added or subtracted from their total score depending if they won or lost the round. The game ends when one player loses all their chips or if they get 1,000 points. The difficulty switches are used in the game. If the left difficulty switch is set to position B, the dealer shuffles the deck after every hand. If it's set to A, the computer shuffles after dealing 34 cards. If the right difficulty switch is set to B, the dealer will stay on 17 or more points, and all ties default to a win for the dealer. On position A, casino rules are used. A player can win the hand if they hit 4 times without going over 21 points. One of the notes of interest is that Whitehead made Blackjack the first Atari 2600 game that would be able to copy graphics on the fly, which would be continuously used in later games for the system. The Atari 2600 only intended to have a small amount of object images on the screen at one time, but as the television scans down the screen, the program could actually copy those elsewhere, so it appeared to have more objects than it was designed for. Whitehead had bigger ideas than just Blackjack. Halfway through development, he decided he wanted to try and expand it to include other card games, but due to the need to pump out product, ended up shelving the idea. He would ultimately get the opportunity to revisit this and create an expanded card game collection simply called Casino in 1979, which include variants on stud poker, solitaire, as well as Blackjack. With Casino on the market, Blackjack was relegated to being cleared out in consumer promotions by fall of 1979, and would go on to be discontinued by January of 1982. However, Casino ensured that the card game remained on the market well into the console's twilight years, with small sales numbers recorded as late as 1989. Retrospective reviews were generally mixed. Blackjack reviewed well in the winter 1979 issue of Video Magazine, where it was called a good game for adults. The book Classic Home Video Games 1972 to 1984 complemented control through the paddle, allowed for nice rapid play, while finding that the graphics and sound to be as primitive as possible. They also noted the lack of suits on the cards, and the lack of gameplay elements such as the ability to double down or split pairs. Creative Computing's July 1978 issue seems to largely just note that it is simply Blackjack, but did state that the launch titles had many hours of fun in mind. All Game magazine dismissed the game, noting poor graphics, irritating audio, and specifying that the worst feature was its slow pace, concluding that Blackjack is just not a fun video game, even by 1977 standards. Atari's Blackjack was a trailblazer, bringing the casino experience into living rooms during the dawn of home gaming. The game's use of paddle controllers and the ability to play with up to 3 players showcased Atari's innovative spirit. However, its limitations, such as the primitive display and sounds, and lack of features, make it more of a historical artifact than a go-to gaming experience for today. Thanks for tuning in to this retro review. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, leave a comment below and tell me your childhood memories of playing this game. Until next time, keep your bets smart and your chips stacked.